What's up, writers? I'm back. That's right, you heard me. I'm back, and I'm here for the first ever writing vlog for this channel. This vlog right here will be documenting the process of my work in progress, which is a cyberpunk novel entitled Bounty, a Duncan Archer novel. I'll be taking you through the process of writing, editing, looking for beta readers, looking for cover designers, looking for editors, all the way to getting advanced reader copies and soon self-publication. So first off, I want to sincerely apologize for not having a video up like I said I would. And there are two reasons why I didn't have a video. Like I said in the previous video, it wasn't that I didn't record anything. I actually recorded 2 video vlogs, but I had some technical difficulties. I had been recording on an iPad, and for some reason it was saying that there was not enough room storage-wise. Don't know if it was because of cloud storage or the storage itself on the iPad, but either way, I should have had enough room to save the video, but it said I didn't, and I spent at least 4 weeks editing, shooting, and all of that. Had 2 video vlogs for you guys. 2. And the iPad said, oh, there's not enough storage space to save the video. And I was like, what? So there's 2 video vlogs down the drain that unfortunately you guys can't see. And the second reason was because I've been shooting pretty much almost every day, if not every other day. And that for me meant a lot of time editing and shooting. And I found I was becoming very repetitive, having to shoot every other day and having 3 to 4 videos that were about a half hour long that I needed to edit. Plus, I found myself trying to copy another AuthorTuber's video vlog style because I saw it was very successful for her and I was trying to be successful, so I was trying to copy her, and obviously that didn't work out. And so now, instead of recording every other day, I'm going to be recording every Saturday. So this way I can talk about what happened during the week, and instead of editing 4 videos that are about a half hour long, I can edit 1 video that's maybe at least a half hour long, maybe 45 minutes, and that will cut down the editing time significantly. And this means I can go back to doing weekly vlogs, like I said. I know in the previous video I had said that I will be switching to bi-weekly vlogs, but that was because I was recording every other day, and obviously that's not working out. So I'll be recording every Saturday and editing that video, and hopefully that should be up around Wednesday, and those will be the days that I upload the video vlogs. And in each of these videos I will be talking about what happened during that week. I'll talk a bit about my writing style and the progress of my novel, and trying not to spoil too much because I don't want to give too much away, or else you guys will know everything and won't need to read the book, which I want you to read. So before we get started, I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to the writing community that's on Twitter. Around this time in October, I only had about 10 followers, and now, this being the first week of December, I have almost 600 followers. So I want to thank you all so much for the support. I could not have done this without you. You guys have been such encouragement and giving me support, being a new writer and a new AuthorTuber, so thank you all so much. I never expected to get this much support. I mean, my Twitter account is growing and like never before. And yeah, it's kind of unbelievable being a debut author, still not having any work really to show, but still having that support and having almost 600 followers is pretty amazing. So thank you all so much. Speaking of social media, if you are new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. And don't forget to follow me on social media. I have a Twitter page, a Facebook page, and an Instagram page. I'll put the links down in the description below. And every once in a while, I'll pop the Twitter handles and the links to my Facebook page right here. Alright, with that being said, let's get started. Today is Saturday, December 7th. My word count right now is 36,183. My goal is by the end of the month, so by December 31st, midnight, so before New Year's, I want to have a complete first draft. So that means writing about 1,500 words a day, which is obviously doable. So for me, this is like my own personal NaNoWriMo. But if I stick to that, I can get to about 72,000 words, which I can do. Obviously, I think it may be more because this being sci-fi, there's going to be more descriptions. But basically, if I write about 1,500 words a day, I should have a fully functional first draft. Yeah. Currently, I'm writing chapter 16 of my novel. So this is about a little more than a third of the way through the book. This is about like the 4th chapter of the 2nd act. So hopefully I don't hit that midpoint meltdown or the midpoint of the story where everything starts to fall flat. I'm going to try to push through that and make sure that the Act 2 is just as riveting as Act 1. So I have some things that I want to talk to you guys about that got lost in my other videos, but I'm going to talk about them here so you don't miss anything. So basically, since getting back and starting my YouTube channel and getting back into writing my book, I've been writing in word sprints. So usually I start my word sprints at about 10 minutes and then I take a small break, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Then I increase to 15 minutes, then 20 minutes. Sometimes I go to 25 minutes, but I usually stay at about 20 minutes and then have several 20-minute sprints. And I find that has definitely helped me because as opposed to when I don't do word sprints and I sit down and write, my inner editor really gets in the way and tries to make everything perfect. I think that's mostly due to having to write essays in college and just papers elsewhere. But these word sprints have really helped to silence my inner editor and get everything out on the page. And especially because a lot of ideas are running through my head as I write. These word sprints have really helped me to get it out on the page, and then when I come back to it for the second draft, it's out there and my inner editor won't force me to forget it. And usually during these word sprints, or not even during my word sprints, sometimes when I'm just writing and I'm silencing my inner editor, I find that playing music and ambiance really helps. I said in a previous video that I am a very visual person. When I write, I usually close my eyes and I imagine the scene playing out as a movie or as a TV show. And when I write, I usually either have some music that kind of sets the mood, or I usually play an ambiance clip from YouTube and have that playing in the background while I write. So for example, I recently did a restaurant scene and I just went to YouTube, found a restaurant ambiance and just played that. It was about an hour long. And so I had that playing in the background, and that really helped me to get into the scene pretty well. I was able to close my eyes and visualize the scene playing out, and that really helped me to write out the scene. One other thing I did was, this was around the 3rd week of October. I was having trouble writing because I found that I wasn't really having a concrete idea as to who my characters were. Like, I had a basic idea, but that's pretty much all it was. It was just a basic idea, just very bare bones. And so what I did was I wrote character profiles. Because while I was writing, I didn't really know how they would act in their given circumstance. I was being very inconsistent between the different scenes that they were in. And so these character profiles have really helped me. I made these character profiles so I can be as consistent as I could be for a first draft in knowing how the characters would act in certain situations. Also, when I'm writing, I discovered that it really helps for me to talk out loud as the character. I think that my acting background, doing Shakespeare, musical theater, and improv, has really helped me get into the mind of the characters. With speaking and acting as them in character, it's really helped me to write the scene out and, have it flow more organically. And also what's helped is I've used existing fictional characters as kind of like the bare bones or as an inspiration for what my character is going to act like. So like, for example, I know that my villain, Reagan, she's inspired by Frank Underwood from House of Cards and also Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. So if you combine those two together, you get a really scary villain. And speaking of villains, I've found that the villain is really the most important part of the novel. It's the villain that drives the story, and it's the villain that dictates what the protagonist is going to do. Because it's the actions of the villains that determines the actions of the protagonist. And so it's been pretty interesting getting into the mindset of the villain, thinking about how she's going to act, thinking about how she behaves. And when I think about it, it's a little disconcerting and a little scary getting into the mindset of the villain, because especially if the villain is nothing like you at all. My villain is very Machiavellian and very ruthless. So yeah, getting to the mindset of my villain and figuring out what she's going to do and how she's going to do it and what she and the group that she's a part of is going to do. Yeah, that's kind of interesting to get into, especially as a psychology major. I actually have a document of the villain's motivations and their methods. Seeing that every day before I write and, getting into that mindset of, okay, this is how they're going to act because this reason. It's pretty scary. Speaking of characters, during my time when I was writing, I actually gave birth to another secondary character. Basically, it's the love interest of my main character, Duncan. So technically, it's a rebirth. So when the book was in its fantasy stage, my main character, who at the time went by the name Tariel, he had a former love interest who thought he was dead before the events of the book happened. They actually thought the other was dead. And Tariel had learned that she was alive and working as an advisor to the king. And while he was doing his thing on his task, he was trying to rekindle the relationship that they had lost because there was an attack on the city that they both were living in prior to the events of the story. And they thought the other was dead. And so Duncan was trying to rekindle that relationship, whereas his love interest had moved on. So once I started rewriting the book as a cyberpunk novel, I took her out of the story because I felt that with the story that I wanted to tell, that she wouldn't really fit. But it was actually during a word sprint that she just sprung to life out of my fingers. Wasn't intentional, it was just free-form thought. She just came out of nowhere. And so I decided to keep her in, and I also wanted to make sure that there was an emotional investment this time in my story. So instead of telling the readers that, these two characters had a relationship, they split, and they were trying to get back what was lost, this time around, I'm showing the beginnings of their relationship and showing their relationship beginning to grow and develop. And hopefully this time, there is an emotional investment with the reader as they read about this relationship that's blossoming. And since this book is hopefully the first in a trilogy, I want to make sure that I don't rush things. Maybe I'll have this book end with them defining the relationship, or maybe the book will start with them at the very beginning of the relationship. I don't know yet, but that's what a first draft is for. The next thing I want to talk about is how I've been writing chapters from several points of view characters. So each chapter is from the point of view of one specific character. As of right now, I have 4 points of view characters. So I have my main character, Duncan. I have my villain, Reagan. I have Duncan's best friend, Richard. And then I have the love interest, Jasmine. But I think the biggest takeaway from these past couple of months has been finding my own voice and finding my own style as a writer. Like I said before, I was trying to copy another author tuber's vlog style. She would record maybe every other day and then upload every week for the most part. And I saw that was being successful for her, so I was trying to do that as well. I would record maybe every other day, and then either that Saturday, or the following Sunday, I would start editing and then try to have that video up on Wednesdays, because I was planning to have Writing Wednesdays. Obviously, editing 4 videos that are half-hour long each and trying to splice that into one obviously was very time-consuming, and I found I didn't have a lot of time to do that. And obviously it didn't work out, because here we are 2 months later and I don't have a video vlog for you guys. Sorry. And I noticed I wasn't doing that just with my vlogs, but also in my writing style as well. I was trying to copy other successful writer's style. I was trying to be the next George R.R. Martin or the next J.K. Rowling, for example, because I see that worked for them, and if it worked for them, it can work for me. Or at least that's what I thought. I found very quickly that I can't be the next Stephen King, or I can't be the next George R.R. Martin, but I can be the first E.J. Newkirk. Over the past 6 years, I've learned what kind of writer I am. I've learned that I can't or shouldn't copy other writers' styles. If I try to, then people are going to know that it's not genuine. If I try to write like George R.R. Martin, people who read George R.R. Martin are going to know. If I try to write like Stephen King, people who read Stephen King are going to know. So, I've learned how to find my own voice and find my own style of writing, which has been very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very revealing and very exhilarating to find my own writing voice. George R.R. Martin said that he believes that there are 2 types of writers. You have the architect and you have the gardener. You have the architect who plots out everything, who lays down the blueprints, who knows where the story is going to go. And then you have the gardener who knows where the story is going to go. They have an idea of what their story is, but they're willing to prune, take things out, maybe or graft, add things in, like a gardener would. I myself, I know I am a gardener. I know what I want to write, but I'm able to adapt to where the story is going to go. There are several chapters in my book that came out of total word sprints or out of free-form thought. It wasn't in the outline that I had, but I felt that was where the story wanted to go, and I managed to find a way to tie in that new free-form thought chapter into the outline, and so it doesn't change the story at all. In fact, it made the story even better. So yeah, this has really been a journey. This book itself has been 5 years in the making, at least. So yeah, that has been my journey for these past 6 years. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start writing. I'm a little behind on my set goal. I didn't actually write at all yesterday, and I haven't written at all yet today. It's now about 5:40 almost 6 o'clock in the evening, and I haven't written anything yet. So I have like 3,000 words to write if I want to stay on track. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and start writing, but until then, you guys keep writing, and I'll see you in the next video.